Hello everyone, how you doing today? Been pretty busy working on this capital ship and been getting a lot of help from Typhoon, debugging it and working on the drop bays as well. Um, I'm going to modify the drop bay a little bit more from where it's at now. I just wanted to show you where the ship is at currently. I'm just going to take a walking tour through it here, at least down one side of it. So coming into the front entryway. Uh, this area is pretty much tweaked out. There was some mistexturing and things that I've been trying to fix up. There's probably more in places too. I've found so many little flubs here and there walking through it. But so getting up in here, it's pretty easy to do. Of course, if you go straight forward here, you go right down into these vehicle bays, which I don't actually have a vehicle in here at the moment, but there's three signs on these, and they tell you to move forward, like it's telling me to do right now, if I were a HV. And once you get close, it tells you to stop. Um, and how this mechanism is set up, and this was kind of like tested by Typhoon. He was coming up with some ideas on how to pull this off. And I'm going to modify it a little bit, but there's a locking mechanism, basically where if this is open, then these bays respond to a sensor and open up. And if this is shut, they stay shut. So basically, and it also tells you that your bay door is locked, docking is ready. So when you come in with the HV here, the doors will stay closed so you can park, but when you're ready to leave, you would flip a switch here, and then then the doors operate on a sensor, so then you can just drop out and the doors will close behind you. Now my plan is, it was kind of brought up that these ramps are kind of close, and when you're coming down in here at an angle, it's hard to see where the signs are and things too. Although, yeah, cosmetically, I didn't really want to move the signs. But what I want to do is, I'm thinking I've got a couple blocks over here. I can probably pull these ramps back a little bit, so you come in at a straighter angle to this area. I think it'll help a little bit. I have to modify the bottom of the ship under here a little bit to pull that off. That's one of the things here. But let's see, what else has changed? Did a little bit more over here. Put in some sentry guns, so now it's running 8 sentry guns throughout the ship. There's 3 of them inside, and the rest of them are on the exterior of the ship. Add in like a O2 and med bay in the back part of the hangar. There's an awful lot of room to put in some cargo boxes and things too. I haven't really done much with that. I think I popped in like one cargo box over here, but I'm not sure if I should or not, or just let the players, put in whatever they would want back there. There's kind of room all over the place to add stuff, which is kind of neat. I cleaned up this area a little bit. There was kind of an exposed fuel tank there. I kind of changed the layout of the wall slightly and put some pipes over it just to kind of go with the theme. I almost forgot about using these blocks. They're expensive though, so this is something that I wouldn't want to use a lot because it hurts towards size class considerably. So as in the size class and specs of this ship, it made its way up to size class 19. I was wrong when I said you could have 30 max turrets. It's actually 32. So I added 2 more turret mount positions to this. I've put in all the correct types of turrets now, so they're no longer all cannons. In fact, I only got the 6 cannons. Basically, I'm just kind of hitting the maximum allowed limits of all these different weapons, and it hits them all. I mean, literally, you can't put another gun on this thing, or it would not comply to game rules. And it came out with currently, unless I change that by modifying it, it came out with a solid 30-hour build time. So pretty crazy. I also added more RCS. I've added some more thrusters. I'll show you that in a minute. More fuel tanks. Bunch of different stuff. But here, I tell you what, you guys all seen these parts of the ship, and they really didn't change much. Now, except for the LCDs. I've got LCDs all over the place now. I added quite a few more, and I've got kind of a directory LCD similar to that of other ships. So that kind of guides your way getting around in here. Let me hop up one of these elevators. Now I try to make these elevators a little bit more luminant, and it's kind of weird because you see like the floor number behind the lights, sort of like an illusion almost. But these elevators, I always have a problem with that. They get dark, and there's just no way to add a light to it unless you want to, like, I don't know, make the elevator take up a lot more space. These rooms over here are pretty much unchanged. Engineering, the two sides of that are pretty much unchanged. Just everything's kind of finalized more now. So you kind of get the idea of how all this is looking. Now everything also has been added to sensor-based lights. So all these lights turn off when I'm not in the area. In some cases, it doesn't illuminate something, you know, at a distance until you get closer. Like when I walk up to this hangar area and start walking towards it, then you see the lights kick on. Things like that. Tweak in a farm section. I decided to slap in some, hopefully, self-explanatory controls. Where you can now shut off rows of the grow lights. And there's 3 different rows of them basically, and I decided not to put in LCDs here because then I would have to probably ditch the windows or do other things. So I hope that's pretty self-explanatory on what these are. Now, a lesson I learned a long time ago with a ship is I keep everything pretty much on except for the exterior lights when I release it. So all these grow lights and the thrusters and the RCS and everything will remain on. Now one neat little thing I kind of like is the way the sensors are set up. When you get close to this window to view the hangar, it lights up for you. So I kind of like that because I really like this view, and that's just how the sensors worked out anyway. So no problems there. So here, let me travel up to the 3rd floor, which was not very complete when you last seen it. So walking in here, I changed quite a bit of this, tried to get some more detail in, kind of rebuilt the front facing of the secure bridge in there, left the med stuff. I also modified this area so it looks a little bit different. It's similar setup, but just a little more to look at. It's got these little things now, little snake heads or whatever, I don't know, but they are added in another med and O2 station here. On the crew rooms, I broke down and added some human features. However, I still left all the crew rooms with these kind of cryopod things instead of beds. Just to be different. I guess they could just as easy have beds. They have locations for that. And then of course on these crew rooms, you've got your bathroom and shower over here. Now these are the front 2 crew rooms. There's more crew rooms in another area, and these are pretty much identical on both sides. The captain's quarters, or I'm calling it the overseer quarters, got tweaked out quite a bit. Been playing with lighting on the ceiling, and it's kind of a bit of a fade effect, a little bit of a gradient light, where this is a different tone on this side than the other side. Got a nice little like kitchen, wet bar area, I don't know, armor locker, little closet, place to watch TV. Up in the sides over here you have your facilities. So I guess the aliens like to stay clean. And then of course you have 2 little walkout balconies over here, which kind of don't give you a huge view, but you kind of can walk out over the hallway section. And the way the sensors are working too, it kind of illuminates the area so you can see around there. Now, an added feature is this little door thing here. So when you're up on this floor, which is also very close to the secure bridge, you can instantly hop down and jump right into the first-person pilot seat. Oop, I just fell. Ah, I fell again. My goodness. Here, let's just head back up here again. Little dangerous, I guess. I'm just trying to keep the way visible. I guess I could replace this glass though with the flat angled glass so you don't fall there. I think that might be a good idea. I think you get the same view out of it. That brings me to another point too with LCDs. On the bridge itself, you now have some heads-up displays on some of the options that are on. Of course, there's more options than this, and maybe I'll switch that around. It's not actually displaying if you have your shield on or not, but I don't have any more places to add LCDs up there, so that's kind of a problem. Now, what I did too is I added a because you would be drilling probably from this or mining, I should say, from this bridge because you can see what you're doing. Good. I added the control to deploy the laser drills, which come out of these those front arms at this area. All right, let me get back up to the third floor again. All right, so moving on. The secure bridge is kind of done up now, and I like how this came out. It's got kind of this interesting little display in the middle and a couple of extra seats over here. I was debating on whether or not to add some more controls. I'd have to kind of block this off a little bit more so I could fit like an LCD and a switch, but maybe I don't actually have a switch in the ship for shield. However, I guess typically I would normally do that with the P menu, but I kind of like having manual controls for everything too. So I added an option for sentry defense that turns on all 8 sentry guns, which 5 of them are on the exterior and 3 of them are on the interior. Then you have your exterior lights, which also turns on the front lights, which illuminate the outside of the bridge, kind of like think Star Trek, you know, how they would have lights on the exterior showing like the model number of the ship. Looks pretty cool. I always like that idea. And then you have your 2 different thruster RCS modes. Basically on and then performance mode. And performance mode kicks on a lot more thrusters and uses quite a bit more fuel. But that's typical. Now something else too. Currently I have the core here. I have 2 alternative core locations in the ship. I don't have that highlighted or any signs indicating that at the time. This area is quite protected. On the top you have a great big row of lag shot blocks, followed by another row of blocks, followed by an artillery turret above that. And then, of course, this is combat steel. There's actually another fine row here, too. And then on the bottom, very similar. Entirely lag shot below the floor. But honestly, I don't think you would ever be shot from the bottom anyway because you have to go through a lot to even get there because this is built up over all kinds of other things. All right, so moving on. Coming up these hallways over here. I might change that back to just temple instead of elder temple. I don't know. I'm debating. I'm trying to make it sound all scary and spooky. You got a little bit of view into the secure bridge from the sides, and then you have these alternative crew rooms over here, which kind of overlook part of the inside of the ship. And in here, pretty much the same stuff: couch, TV, little desk. Under these doors here, you have your facilities. So, and let's see, moving on into this area. I think I did a couple little tweaks and changes, a little bit with texturing. I think I moved a couple lights around a bit. added in some more decal or deco stuff. Little seats here kind of in front of this thing, whatever that thing may be. And it kind of keeps ooh, I just screwed this up. Yeah, I replaced a couple blocks here earlier. Hold on before I forget. I must fix because it's easy to forget. Okay, so, and then you got kind of an overlook of the hangar here. Problem is the way the sensors are set up, the hangar lights are not on, so you're not actually seeing that. But what I see is a happy alien. You see that? Where you got like a couple eyes, little space invader looking alien kind of thing. So yeah, so it's happy. And I think that pretty much covers the inside of the ship. So pretty much everything is kind of done and tweaked now. Pretty happy with all the signs and the sensors and whatnot. Let me do a couple other things here. Now I want to show you a bit on the exterior. Get some daylight here. And I'm actually going to take this thing off from the ground right now. I'm going to take a shortcut though. Woohoo! Alright, so we're going to lift off a minute. Alright. So in God mode, something I did do, now currently we have full thrust on, is I added 2 more of the medium-sized thrusters in these rear areas. One, I wanted a little bit more lift thrust. I know it has 6 of the big ones already, but it's a really big ship and it weighs a lot. So a couple more can't hurt, and not to mention it probably looks like it would fly better at this point in time having the rear thrust as well. So it doesn't look like it would like not be able to lift the back end of the ship up. As in the thrust mechanism, let me get to the bridge here to turn off the extras here. So when performance mode is off, it shuts down 4 of the big lift thrusters. It keeps these still on and back, and it shuts off quite a few other thrusters. You have the 6 that, forward thrusters here. So it just keeps the back ones on. It shuts off these other 2 built into these little wing areas over there. And I had to leave both of the down thrusters on because I only have the 2, and shutting one of those off looks kind of funky. Doesn't need them both though. It really doesn't. But yeah, that would just look strange if only one was operating. So I kind of did that all over the place with that stuff. Couple other little modifications. Added a little bit of glass over here. This actually kind of, and some of these grates over this area. It kind of strengthens it up a little bit more, getting through the ceiling in this area, and then complies a little bit better to the 2-block layer thickness standard that it has. As in alternative core locations, on each side of these other bays here, I got this C, and this is a very hardened area of the ship. Off from the side, you actually have a giant thruster over here, so there's just no way getting in from the sides. From the front, you got a whole lot of lag shot and then other things. So I mean, literally you got to go through an awful lot to get to this core on where it is at now. Also on the front area here, this dead space I added in. It's got a bunch of stuff here already, but I did put in an additional row of lag shot blocks, a couple more fuel tanks, and some more stuff. This is places that aren't accessible from inside the ship, and it's got some more room to add some more stuff here too. In fact, if I got rid of a lot of the lag shot back here and stuff, you could get in quite a few more fuel tanks and things. But yeah, I think that's just about does it for the ship. Oh, also, 2 added turret positions were put in over here on the bottom side. I had kind of these areas that could have been turret positions, but I thought I hit max limit. When I was going through there, there's basically 3 groups of turrets. 2 of them allow 10, and the other one allows 12. So I only had 30 turrets on this. Now it has 32, and that's not including the 2 artilleries. So, but it's at max limit. They can't add any more guns anywhere on this thing without breaking game rules. So that's where it stands. Now, also in testing too, I've been messing with. Oh, this is probably a bad view for that. Here, let me get out of that. Yeah, head up to the front cockpit here a minute. Where is it? Oh, there we are. Okay. And with the stats on. Oh wait, I don't have the. Here, let me hit one more switch over here. Secure bridge, turn back on this. Now we're running full power. So basically, I tested this 3-direction flying with full power, and I also turned on the shield while doing this. Basically, the shield takes it up to 78% power usage, I believe. But other than that, we're looking good. And it's fairly maneuverable. I mean, it's maybe I added a bit too much RCS. It's at 31 advanced RCSs. But it's doing pretty well. And it shouldn't ever have any power problems whatsoever. But I didn't go overboard and add any more generators than what it already had. So all that I really got left is the idea of taking these, I got to modify this area some here, and so I can try to make these ramps better over here. Or I'm sorry, where am I? Over here, I mean. So, didn't really want to change this, but I would like to make that bay work a little bit better, if I can. So that's about it, and pretty much all I got for today to show you. I didn't do really much work on the other vessels. Well, I take that back. Hold on a second. Where is this one? True polar, no. This one. It's got to be this one. I probably ought to name this stuff a little bit better. No, that's the old one. Well, never mind. I'll show this next time. I did some work to this, and I finished off a lot more of this PvP fighter ship too. Just it doesn't look like I have it ready to show. But anyway, y'all have a good day. Hope you enjoyed this. I plan on trying to get like some kind of tutorial thing going next week. This week was really busy as I've been trying to get this CV ready. My plan currently is to release it this Sunday. I'm going to need some time to take some screenshots, and I want to give it a couple more lookovers and do a little bit with that vehicle bay yet. So that's all coming. Anyway, see you later. Have a great weekend.